Hello, we are back live from the parents' kitchen slash breakfast nook. And Happy's fixing us a little dinner.
Well, snacky.
we ate dinner at like 3:30, so now
Well, we
we've
ate
gone.
lunch at 3:30.
Yeah, it was lunch actually at 3:30. So, and then it's just been a whirlwind of the day since. So I hope that you are all having a great beginning of your week. I know that it has been like just crazy out in the world for the past few weeks. We have lots of friends that have been impacted by fires in the LA area, and our heart goes out to them, and we hope that they're all doing fine. It's been a lot, right? So it's very important with everything going on that we still take care of ourselves. And we had a meeting earlier today with one of those people who is having a lot of stress in their life because of the fires and had to postpone a trip and all sorts of things because of the fire. And with all that going on in her life, she still took the time to be with us. And it was just like a handful of us on that Zoom today. But she took the time and she showed up. And she didn't just show up for us. She showed up for herself too. Though she liked to say that she did it because she knew that she needed us. And so
Hey, just
we know that she has so much going on, and we all showed up because we wanted to be there for her. So I think it's really important that we all take the time to show up for ourselves and to show up for each other, especially when there's lots of like crazy stuff going on around us. And it just kind of helps you feel better when you know you're helping somebody else feel better, right? So it's kind of that pay it forward mentality. We had a friend this week, that we spent a lot of time with, and we were helping him while we were at Hollywood Studios, and we just did the normal like aunt things that we would do for his child, like nothing we wouldn't do for any other kid that we considered family. And he was so touched by that, and it was, he cried a little bit about it. He's a very emotional man, and we love him for that because he just wears his heart on the sleeve all the time. But one of the things that he told us was that he doesn't have help, like, and it made him stress like so much, trying to take care of his kid while he was at the park and everything, and he just doesn't have anybody else that helps him. He's a single dad with a disabled child, and he was so grateful for the time that we spent with his child. He was so grateful for the things that we did for him. Sorry about, there is some noise going on in the background, so hopefully
I'm doing the best I can.
hopefully you guys are okay. I'm actually gonna put the second mic down because I think that it might be picking up some background. And so anyhow, the thing that I want to try to say about that, because I'm losing my train of thought, sorry. The thing that I want to mention about that most of all is the fact that when somebody wants to help you, let them. And if you feel like somebody is not going to ask for your help and you know that they need help, give them that help. because even though they might be stubborn about it or something like that, they need help, right? And Elizabeth wants to know what you're cooking in the background. Actually, you want to hand me the box? Actually, we got some of this gluten-free Bonza mac and cheese is what we've got going on. And it's pretty good. We've had it before. It's vegan shells and cheddar. Mom, do you want to come say hi?
Yeah, come say hi.
Just come, just wave. Just kind of
right.
poke your head in and wave.
Right there.
Just wave.
Oh,
Yay.
yay.
There's my mom. Can't you tell?
That's Sandy. She's awesome. She just got back from Bunko, but she didn't lose anything.
Nope.
She's saying loser, but she said she got her $5 back.
Once you got your $5 back, that's great.
Like a big loser. Oh, do you get your money back if you are the biggest loser?
That's awesome. Uh-oh. You okay?
I'm fine.
Was that the microphone?
That was the mic.
Well, that was the mic. We'll see how that goes. At least it didn't go in your food. Let's see. I think it's just on mute.
I know, right? Everybody's going, hi, Cheryl's mom. Apple's saying hi, who's one of our favorites. Elizabeth's here, who we were going to travel with in a little bit, that lives in Orlando.
Trying to get it turned. There you go. It's all good. It's back.
Oh, you come in the kitchen and get anything you want.
Yeah.
No one's going to see or hear of you.
Yep.
Unless you want them to. You can join in and give us words of wisdom too.
She's like, I've been on there longer than I wanted to be.
Everybody's all excited.
Yeah.
Elizabeth says, hi, Mrs. Purser.
So, like, it's really important that, if you see somebody struggling, help them. They may not want to ask for help. And, you'll know it when you see it, when somebody's struggling and they need some help.
I think sometimes too, not everybody can do this, but if you can put yourself in the other person's shoes, some people can and some people can't.
Yeah.
And think about, what would I feel in that situation? And our friend is just a really, really lovely man. And we had kind of thought, oh, they're pitting him over to do a child swap. So I thought, on a ride at Hollywood Studios, and I thought it had already been taken care of. And then I didn't see anybody else going over with him. So I went back to the lady and she's like, no, you can't do that unless you did it way back before.
Yeah, which is totally different than they do it at Universal. So we were kind of all confused about that a little bit.
So it was really interesting, honestly. And he just felt so amazing about having that going on, having that kind of support and help.
Yeah.
And I think if you see around and you can do it for someone, do. And also, like you're saying, if you need it,
ask for help.
Ask. And it's the hardest thing in the world to ask for help. It really is. But it's the most important thing you can do for yourself and others, just the same way as when you're helping somebody else, it's really easy to see what's good about that. However, you've got to remember, when you go out of your comfort zone and ask for help, you're also showing other people that that's okay to do.
Right.
And you're modeling that for them as well. And that can mean just as much as if you were helping them in a very obvious way.
Yeah, definitely. And, for us, we were just getting to spend time with a kid that we love and don't get to spend time with very often. But it meant so much more to him. And I don't think either of us realized how much more that meant to him. And we were like, oh, let's go buy him a t-shirt. Oh, let's go buy him a new blankie.
Because it rained and it was wet. It was just what we would do.
It's just what we do.
And
right?
He's easy. This kid is so easy. He slept most of the time. He's just like, oh, I'm good.
Yeah.
So, but I do think that learning to ask for help, and if you have trouble asking for help, remember that by asking for help, you're helping someone else.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it occurred to either of us like what we were doing was making that much of an impact on someone until later in the day.
Right.
When he came to us and he expressed how grateful he was and things, and we were like, no, we're family, we do that. So,
and what was so cool about it too was that there were people we didn't even know. So some of the people who were there, probably about half of them are in what we call our ECAM fam, which basically they're gonna bless us out and help us all at the same time. So they're like real family.
If you need hit upside the head, they're going to hit you upside the head, and then they're going to pick you back up and brush you off. So I mean, they're good.
Right. So some people were new, and they still just pitched in right away and helped, which was great.
Yeah.
We are having some bonza mac and cheese. We're at Cheryl's parents' house. So when we've been traveling, we've been carrying some different foods. These are not all whole food, plant-based, no oil, but they're pretty darn good.
Pretty darn close.
And so if you were whole food, plant-based SOS or something like that, this wouldn't be a good choice for you. However, if I were at home, I would have just cooked up some pasta and used my dry cheese mix. That all you have to do is mix with the non-dairy milk of your choice, and you're all good. And I sent that out in the newsletter tonight, so you guys might see that.
And Mom's got some peas and carrots and corn in the closet that when I get off of here, I'm gonna also eat some of a can of those.
But this was kind of
the hurry up right between everything that we're doing kind of eating thing.
Hydrant's here.
Oh yeah.
Joe was asking what we're eating.
Corn pops.
No, it's just little mini shells.
Yeah, it's the bonza. The bonza stuff, if you're gluten free, the bonza stuff is actually like really, really good. It's, the pasta's all made out of chickpeas. And so, as far as pasta goes, it's pretty good.
It's not bad. Yeah, it's a vegan mac and cheese. And it's gluten-free too, which is super awesome.
Yeah.
Because I ate some gluten yesterday and my hands are like,
now this is the one, it doesn't have the powder packet like you make. This has got the squeezy cheese one.
So it was really, we cooked the pasta in the microwave in the any day pan because we had gotten Cheryl's mom some for Christmas after I liked them so much.
Yeah.
And then honestly, after I drained the pasta, I just put the cheese sauce in the bottom, mixed in the pasta, and it warmed everything up, which was great.
Yeah.
Vegana says, I wouldn't mind some words of wisdom from Mrs. Purser. We'll see.
Lord have mercy.
She just said, oh, Lord, have mercy. So we'll see. And she is in Pearland, Texas, where they're bracing for a historical winter storm event. And there's all kinds of crazy stuff. We just talked about that in our 7:30 live. And like, what was it? Tanya was saying it's like minus 11.
No, minus like 17, wasn't it?
I don't know. It was minus crazy temperature. Now she's in Canada, but she's just in Ontario. It's not like she's near Greenland.
Yeah, she's in London, so that's not.
Yeah, I mean,
far.
It's not. It's unusually cold a lot of places. And at home for us, it's going to get down to 11 degrees tonight or tomorrow night, I think.
Yeah, actually, I think both nights are supposed to be equally as cold down there. So our house sitter is hunkering down with the kitties.
Yeah. Hopefully she turned on the fireplace and she's showed her how to turn the heat up and all of that stuff, because we have one of those auto things, which is great because then it told us what was wrong with our heater, which I thought.
Yeah, I just still every time I think of that, I'm like, why does not everyone in the world have this thermostat? Like, it's ingenious that it actually emailed us to tell us that something was broken and then tried to tell us exactly what was broken, which was kind of crazy. It made it so much faster for them to figure out what was really wrong.
But the downside is that it will automatically change the heat higher or lower. So sometimes you're like, wow, I'm really hot. What's going on? And I'll be like, why is it so hot in here? So it does try to.
And it'll try to learn. So like in the summertime, it learns that we keep turning the temperature down further and further. And so sometimes it'll get down to like 63 in the house or something like that when we're
because I set it at 63.
And so it remembers what she said. So then it learns like exactly what time of day it's supposed to drop down and get actually much, much cooler.
and yeah, and it tries to learn, but when the weather changes every day, when one day you can only wear shorts and the next day you have to wear a winter coat, it makes it really difficult.
Yeah.
Penny says, sorry, Vegana, sorry you're going through that. Storms in the south instead of the north. We are very cold, but no snow, and she wants some snow. Take care and you'll get through it.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth says, I was once on a cruise and on an excursion. The tour guide took us to a local restaurant after our tour, and then the bill came. I realized I didn't have enough cash to pay. I was so embarrassed, but had to ask the family that was on our tour to pay for our lunch, and then I would Venmo the money when we got back on the ship and had internet. It was hard to ask them, but they were so gracious. And that's the thing.
People naturally want to help people. And so, learning to ask for help is something that I've had to really learn a lot in the past just few months. And, I get a little like, well, I should know how to do that because I'm a tech person. But some of the stuff that I'm doing is completely new to me. And so I do have to ask for help, and I do have to sometimes be shown how to do something. And so that's a little humbling sometimes because it messes with our psyche when we have to ask for help.
But I will say this, the more you do it, the easier it gets.
That's true. I think it does.
And I know you've been having a lot of trouble, especially asking for tech help. Like our Ecamm fam are like kind of our tech people. Mm-hmm. And they're always there and they know us and love us. And so you're used to being the tech expert, mm-hmm. and from your job, your past job and things like that.
But this is a whole another side of the world, right?
Completely different.
Completely different. And no, they've been really, really super helpful. And shout out to Doc and Luis and AT and Gretchen and mm-hmm. gosh, Mary Lou, everybody has just been so, so helpful. Especially trying to get these new cameras going and giving us ideas on how to do something. Like Mary Lou gave us this great idea just today.
Yeah,
about an app we could use.
And I wrote all that stuff down. Yeah. But it's interesting. It's just like whenever you do anything new, like that's why I always get cranky when Cheryl changes a camera or something like that, because that's one more thing that can go wrong.
Yeah.
Even us setting up here, she's like, let's use this. I'm like, let's just use our phone.
Yeah, we know they work.
We can put the phone, so I have the phone connected to the computer, and we can still use our program that lets us read your comments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think that's one important thing to remember is that it's uncomfortable the first time. Mm-hmm. The second time, it's uncomfortable for less time. And it might even take 10, 20 times. But if you have trouble asking for help or asking someone to help you, start with something small. Can you reach that for me in the cold section in the freezer? Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. You've asked lots of times for somebody to help you get something.
I'm 5'1.5". I will scale.
She will
shelving.
She will, right? In some of these stores, I'm like, that shelving doesn't look like it's going to hold anything. You don't need to be crawling up there. But then we'll see somebody come by that's kind of tall and be like, hey, you're tall. Could you grab that for me? And most of the time, they just turn around and they look at you like, oh, you're incredibly short people. Let me get this for you because I feel really bad for you.
No, they're just like, sure. Yeah, I mean, it's like me reaching right there. It's not a big deal to them. And on the flip side of that, if I'm in the store and I notice someone's trying to look at vegan yogurt or something like that, I'll be like, is there anything I can maybe help you with? Because people don't want to ask.
Right.
And I've even had people think at Barnes & Noble that I worked in the bookstore so many times because I'll be like, I'll hear, oh, I'm looking for blah, blah. Oh, that's over there. Like, do you work here? No, I'm just helpful. And
somebody asked me if I worked at a store, and it was at the pet store. Because I was carrying that I had a big bag of cat food on my shoulder. And I was just kind of walking through the store with it. And they were like, excuse me, do you work here? I was like, nope, just head to the register. Thank you.
That's hilarious. Vegana was saying, thank you for Penny for her kind words. Just praying my house's pipes hold up and we don't lose power. Snow plows from other states have been deployed and are at the ready. Wow, we haven't looked at the news today.
It sounds like it's going to be a big doozy.
I am sure
Oh,
you are already doing
Hydrant says it's going to be 1 degrees in
Connecticut
tonight.
Wow. Yeah, okay. It's not just where we are.
No.
We're thinking tiny and thinking bigger. But Vegana, one thing that you're probably already doing is dripping your faucets. If you drip all the faucets, that helps a lot. I lived in New Orleans for 12 years. And so the houses are raised. So like we don't have a lot of insulation on our pipes. We're in North Carolina, but at least they're below ground.
Yeah.
And so in New Orleans, we would always also drip the pipes if it was even going to come close to freezing. So
I left a sink dripping in the laundry room, just so it can just drip the whole time, since it was going to be so cold. But I feel better knowing that we have a cat sitter at the house too that can keep an eye on those things. And plus, she'll keep it warmer in the house than we will, and so it'll be nice and toasty inside.
She's always worried the cats aren't going to be okay. Fergus has except his hair isn't long, it's so thick he almost looks like one of those Siberian cats. Like he has a thick coat. Yeah. And Penny says even up north we do a slow and steady drip to make sure the pipes don't freeze. It's going to be, Bev says it's going to be -5 in Michigan.
Oh wow.
Oh my goodness. And let's see, Penny was saying -2 in Wisconsin now, getting down to -9. And she also said, I like rice pasta for gluten-free because I like my pasta soft. How is the chickpea pasta? I think the chickpea pasta holds up a little more, is a little more toothsome, so you might not be a super fan.
Because if you let it go too long, then it just kind of disintegrates into like a chickpea mush kind of situation.
It doesn't usually. Did you hear Mom laughing? It's awesome.
Did you hear how cold it was?
Visual I didn't need.
Carol's mom says that's a visual I did not need. Hopefully you needed it.
Did you hear how cold it is in Wisconsin?
Yeah, it's supposed to be below 0.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just
-9
crazy.
tonight.
And I believe that's Ollie, isn't it? Need a distraction right now. Glad you guys are live. Glad that you're hanging out with us. We appreciate you being here. And Vegana said, yes, we'll definitely drip. Different from up north. Infrastructures down here aren't built for this. I totally understand that.
Yep.
And we've seen it happen before.
Yeah.
And it's even in North Carolina where we are. So I grew up in Winston-Salem, an hour and a half from Durham. They have more snow plows than Durham. So when the snow happens, it's just a much different situation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
What?
Janet's saying I saw the northern parts of Florida getting 3 to 5 inches of snow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Like one day I don't want.
Tomorrow, I think.
Oh wow.
Up like Gainesville.
Like Gainesville.
Oh wow.
That's what she's saying. Her mom's Sandy's looking at the weather now. And TS says, oh, Vegana says, come on, Mrs. Purser, come say hi.
She did a little bit ago.
She just settled back in the couch. She was like, She's like, you got to see the back of me. You should be happy. No.
She came by a little earlier and poked her
I know.
head.
She didn't know we were going to be live and in her kitchen. So we just kind of sprung this on her.
She came home from Bunko and there we were.
Well, I always got to say you got $5 in your pocket when you left.
$5 when you came back. It's not that bad.
It says 39 at 2 a.m.
Here?
Here.
39 at 2 a.m. here.
But it's gonna drop from there tomorrow.
Oh, and tomorrow it's gonna drop. Oh wow.
And that's why if you watch the earlier live, that's why we're packing so much, because we have to in Key West and we're going to Bimini. And while it doesn't look like it's not going to be 30 degrees, I can tell you that.
7 a.m. on Wednesday is going to be 35.
That's here?
Yes, at 8 a.m.
Oh, wow.
And rain.
Oh, gosh. Well, at least it's not snow.
This is true.
So far.
No, it won't snow here.
If it does, that's going to be pretty bad.
It put up a little higher.
So Shelly says, you ladies always cheer me up. Good. We just want you to feel comfy and hanging out with us. Cheryl, you need to eat some dinner.
I know.
Your stuff's getting cold.
You know I don't like to eat online.
But you know what? sometimes life is just the way it is.
It is. This is good stuff, though. Mm-hmm.
It's not as good as the one I make, but I mean,
No.
it's good enough for travel food for sure.
Yeah.
Oh wow, Vegana says Nola's supposed to get around 9 inches of snow, New Orleans.
Oh my goodness.
When I was there, I remember it dusted, and everybody was super excited. That is just craziness.
Yeah, it's just the next couple days.
Oh, TS says, I have the same challenge as Kathy, but I use a cane and I have no problem using it for items up high unless it's glass. I would would
totally do that.
I'm always grabbing, if there's something I can grab, like some pasta, knock that thing, because I can catch it right out of the air. I'm really, like, I can't throw, I'm not good at sports, but I can catch groceries falling on me.
Like, my arms are longer, and I can usually, like, tap something with my fingers, and then she catches it as it comes down. It's like teamwork in the grocery store. Oh,
come on over.
Come here.
Show and tell. Show and tell. Show and tell.
Where'd you get that?
Your father thought I needed it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Look at this, y'all.
You're not going to...
How do you use it? Oh, you push this?
Push it up.
Push it
So
up.
it opens up.
Oh, it even has a trigger lock on it. It's to grab stuff from up high.
That's kind of cool.
And it's got little suction cups on it.
Maybe I'll ask Sandy Claus for one for Christmas next year, because that's awesome.
Well, it was a bargain at $10.99.
Well, your dad ordered it.
Well, I bet you anything, if they saw me going in the store like that, they'd be like, look, lady. The security guard would be following me everywhere.
Yeah, but not in Florida. They probably all have one.
He's just tired of me saying, will you come here and get that for me?
Oh, so Ted, Cheryl's dad, got it, so she didn't have to keep asking him to come out and get stuff for her.
Hey, I'm 5'2". Give me a break.
5'1.5". You got a half inch on me. She's 5'2". And let's see. Oh, Shelly. Shelly said, I made your samosa filling and had it with mango chutney. Oh, yum. It's awesome in a samosa, but it is awesome just to have mashed potatoes flavored with beautiful Indian spices and some peas and things like that. That's a great idea. I think the samosas are on healthyslowcooking.com. I think it's one of the air fryer recipes that I have there.
I think it is too.
Oh, TS says, laugh out loud. I have something like that. Its name is Grabby. Sandy might steal that. She's going to copy you.
Grabby. So TS was also asking, I heard that when it gets really cold in Florida, the geckos kind of freeze and lose their grip. Are there any issues there? We have iguanas. You don't have that problem here, right?
We have geckos. Yeah, we have them, but they're little ones. They're probably all hidden right now.
Yeah.
I thought it was
it's the iguanas,
because then they're on a tree and then they can't hold on anymore.
They like freeze up. They kind of thaw out, I guess.
They just kind of fall down and then thaw out after they thaw out. Oh, that's crazy.
Oh, Elizabeth says her dad has one of those. That's awesome. Okay, so what things? Oh, here we go. Oh, thanks, Apple. Apple just put up the link to the samosa recipes in the chat. So if you're watching this on a replay, it takes like 10 hours or longer, sometimes 10 to 24 hours for the chat to be visible again after the live has ended. But if you go to healthyslowcooking.com and you put in the upper right-hand corner, you put in samosas, you'll find it. Or you can always email me at kathyhester@gmail.com.
Yep.
We are going to be a little off the email, and if you've tried to email me or support at Healthy Slow Cooking and we haven't gotten back to you, it's because we messed up. So please email us again. We're not trying to not talk to you. So
yes,
we're just traveling a lot these couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So please forgive us and definitely ask anything again. So we were kind of talking about asking for help. Now we know how also you can kind of avoid it, or maybe things that you know you could do yourself. You could get a tool. And maybe that's a good first step, is to say, hey, I can't reach things very well. Do you know of something that helps me? Like Dawn can't reach things in her kitchen. And I'm like, you need a step stool like mine.
Yeah, Kathy has a step stool in the kitchen, and she'll just drag that thing over and pop up in the cabinet.
You know what else? Don't walk by short people in the store, and when they're trying to grab something, give them a hand.
Yep. So Mom was saying, when you walk past somebody who's shorter in the store and you see them trying to grab something and they look like they're struggling, just reach out and give them a hand. And I think that kind of fits right in with everything that we've been talking about. Giving help and asking for help and all those kinds of things.
And with all this weather going on too, this is a great time to kind of practice some of that too. Because Buchanan was saying earlier, it can kind of suck living alone. And I think it was, she, after surgery, she wasn't allowed to bend. Living alone stinks sometimes. And I think living alone when there's a weather or disaster event, like snow isn't necessarily a disaster event, but also the fires are happening at the same time.
Right.
And that can make it even worse. So definitely maybe at least reach out to neighbors if you can. Obviously, those of you who have like minus bazillion degrees, you need to stay in your house with the heat on. But if you have a phone number of a neighbor who lives by, maybe check on them. Or
especially if
like
they're by themselves.
Yeah. I think it's something that used to be done more in the past. And I think it's just because you saw people more, different places. And now, you can order your groceries delivered straight to your house. You can get so many things without having that kind of contact.
Yeah.
And we have a list server called Bull City Shares where we live, and it's really awesome. Like Nextdoor can be helpful, and you can always start and ask for recommendations for people to help you there too. But there's also a lot of arguing. Right. I don't know about your Nextdoor.
I get so frustrated with it sometimes. I'm like, here they go again.
Right. It gets really, really petty. But so Bull City Shares is a place, it's kind of like a buy nothing group. And that if I'm ready to give some stuff away as we're cleaning out, we can pass it on to other people, which is what we did with some of our processed food after we did the starch solution. So try and find some place like that. Like a lot of people there, like some stores will put leftover produce out at I'm trying to remember if it was the free refrigerator.
Yeah, the free refrigerator. There's 2 free refrigerators in Durham, and they'll put stuff in there. And then they'll post on the site that the food is there so that people can go get the food that need it.
And what really warmed my heart is there's someone on Bull City Shares that goes and gets the vegetables, makes it into soups and stews, and puts it in packages for people who don't have access to cooking appliances. Or makes sandwiches with some of the things too for people to make it a little bit easier for everybody to eat. So in most cities, there's something like that. And it could even be a buy nothing group where you can meet some like-minded people who are interested in trying to help other people.
Definitely. TS was saying, I find that the older I get, I don't want to ask for help because it's like a loss of independence. And I get that, because I kind of felt that way too, having to ask for help on how to use some of this new equipment and stuff, because I felt like I should know how to do this, or I got this, kind of thing. And sometimes it's just easier if you just kind of swallow that a little bit and ask. Like probably me actually reaching out and talking to the guys at Hollywood Studios yesterday saved me hours upon hours of research and just general messing things up. So,
well, and I don't think having a sense of pride in that I'm proud that I've done something well, or you could be proud that you helped someone, like, it's kind of like a pat on the back. I think that kind of pride can be really productive. But I think there's another kind of pride where kind of asking or not knowing or breaking a facade.
Yeah.
That's a good way. So like breaking this facade, because no one's perfect. Everybody needs to ask questions. Okay. Doc may know everything there is to know about cameras, and he even makes his own miso, but I'm going to know something he doesn't, right? And one of the reasons I love Doc so much is while he will tell you all the things he knows, he'll also be like, I don't know how, you got to talk to Kathy about that. I'm going to find out how to do that. And I think you grow more as a person when you're willing to let that perfectionism fall. And that's, I try to practice that. And when I'm making food live, or like us earlier doing our little kit live, was when I was trying to shove all the stuff in. Did I know 100% it was going to zip? No, but I was a betting person on that one. I was like, I think I got this. And it worked. And you know what? What's the worst thing? It didn't zip up. I have to take some stuff out and reorganize.
Yep.
And then you get to see that and go, oh, I couldn't fit all that in there. I'm surprised you got what you got in there, right? Even with making a recipe, like one time I was making something Instant Pot, but it really needed to cook on the stove some more. So we talked about what went wrong, how to fix it. And so even when you're in that kind of situation, you learn more. And the first time it ever happened to me, I was so embarrassed, and I really took it really personally. And thank goodness my little teacher voice came and wagged its finger at me and saying, you know what? They learned something from that. So you taught, it's okay, let it go. But I think when we get like, well, I'm supposed to know how to. No one was born knowing how to do this.
And I say that a lot. A lot of times I'll say, I'm supposed to know how to do X. And I'm not. Like, everything is new. Things change constantly. Technology changes constantly. You know, updates to your computer messes things up. I mean, it's just everything changes. And so you can't like think and things that you knew 5 years ago have completely changed now, right? And so you kind of have to have an open mind about letting the learning happen again.
I think it's less painful to have an open mind.
Yeah.
Because then you're not always worried about somebody proving you wrong. It's more of like, oh, that's a better way to do this. I can see that now. You know, it's like, even though Hydron and I have a little appliance rivalry going on.
Rivalry? You just edge each other on to buy things.
Right? But I could be like, how did she get that? She's not doing, you know what I mean? It's like, no. We all learn from each other. We all lift each other up. And sometimes the difference in deciding how you're going to take something in, because honestly, it doesn't matter if someone says something kind of crappy to you or something kind of awesome. It's how you take it in, or if you take it in at all.
Right.
Because right now, with all the weather and the fires and all the other things, people are just losing a little bit of their minds. And I'm noticing that people online are a little bit meaner. Of course, not our community, because you guys are the best. But we were even talking about that in the video group, because people were like, yeah, people are mean right now.
Yeah. People are just like, they don't even think about what's coming out of their mouths right now, and they just say nasty things, and it's very disheartening sometimes. Listen to some of like just common courtesy out the window in some instances, I guess.
Well, sometimes I feel like an old person saying
I do.
that. But
I do too.
But the thing is it's not like me going, these kids today, because it's usually people my age or older. And I'm like, you know better. You were taught some common courtesy and you've made a choice. Yeah. And that's when I get really disappointed. Oh yeah, we do need to make the cream cheese video.
Yes.
And I saw, Hydron is hoping to get into video making this year, treating myself to an iPad Air 13 because of iMovie.
Oh. Yeah.
Well, and talked to Cheryl, and we were using CapCut to do some things, which was associated with TikTok, which went away and has now come back. InShot is the thing that we're going to look at next.
Yeah,
and that's
we can kind of let you know what we think of it.
Yeah.
Something you want to do.
Evidently, I bought it in 2022 and never used it. So there you go. So they were mentioning that. But a lot of being hurt and getting your spirits dampened is how much you let in. And we were talking about that a little bit. Like someone felt like they had they're very empathetic, and I am as well, and I can take things in. And so last year I was really working on my boundaries. And boundaries can be different for different kinds of things, right? Like a boundary about someone, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I can't think of anything because I'm not in my house. I don't have all my clues, but like, Cheryl putting things on the kitchen counter. Like if it comes in the house, she is going to put it on that kitchen counter. And I don't know why. It does not belong in the kitchen. We got medicine on the counter, cat food on the counter, laundry detergent for downstairs on the counter, everything on that counter, which is the one thing I've said, please don't put anything on the counter. And I think for a while, and I think if you live with someone, you all have your kitchen counter, whatever that is. And one of the things at first I was like, she's doing this just to make me move this stuff. And I was like, okay, she's not doing that, but she's not being tuned in to what I'm asking her to do. And then now I'm kind of like, if it bothers me a lot, I'll be like, you need to get this stuff off the kitchen counter. And sometimes I'm like, you know what? Today I could put it away. It's not that big a deal. Now there are rules that are in stone. Like she used to put the dog leash on the stove top. And I said, would you lick it? And she said no. And I said, then it should not go on something you cook food in.
So that's the new rule. If I wouldn't lick it, it does not belong on the counter.
Yes, that is true. That is my rule. So, but a lot of that is like, she's not sitting there going, I'm really going to piss Kathy off today, so I'm going to put some stuff on the kitchen counter. No, she's just not paying any attention. And I do some stuff too. It's not like she doesn't have her kitchen counter that I push, right, the envelope on. So for some of that stuff, sometimes you have to think about, how am I taking it in? And some days, like literally, if we've gone to Costco and there's just a pile, where this goes and where that goes. Yeah. Like, but I forgot. I went, she's ADHD. She just goes off and forgets some things. And it's easier to see it with someone that you care about. And at the store, there are certain things that I'm not okay with, like people just coughing real loud without covering their mouth. I'm like, we went through a pandemic. How about we do that and wash our hands, But just try and remember some of that too. Like just because when we were at the drugstore today, there were a couple of people that I just was like, I could feel that.
Oh yeah, yeah. There was And then that one old guy, he was just like stomping. He was in a hurry with his paper towels and toilet paper, and he was just. And then I was like, "Would you like to go ahead of me?" Because I was waiting on you. And his whole demeanor changed. He was like, what? And I said, you can go ahead of me because I'm waiting on somebody. And he was just like, his whole demeanor just changed like instantly. He was like, thank you. And he went ahead. And then he got to stomp out the door with his toilet paper, paper towels that probably his wife sent him out to get. And he didn't want to get up and go out in the cold.
Or he was just having a bad day. And that's the thing. I mean, we've talked about this so much. Like when we talk about just trying to do something kind for yourself and doing something kind for someone else. Sometimes that just means asking your cashier at the grocery if they are having an okay day, or say, I hope you have all good customers, or just acknowledging them as a human being can often make that change. And then we're going to have some other cashiers who just do not want to hear a word coming out of our mouths. That's okay. It doesn't mean I have to stop doing what I'm doing. It just means I have to be aware of the situation and make the choice based on that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Apple says social media has absolutely changed how people communicate with each other. I deleted my Instagram account yesterday. I tried it and don't like it. I will seriously miss you on Instagram.
Yeah.
And while I have a Blue Sky account, I haven't really been utilizing it. And I understand, like, I'm kind of phoning it in on the Facebook group right now, and I'd rather people come to the Heartbeat group.
Mm-hmm.
It's free, and then you get to see what you see. You can leave when you want to leave.
And then you can communicate with each other better there too.
Right. And so that's one of the reasons I like it. I feel like Facebook has turned into a bunch of ads and a bunch of AI generated weird movies, which is disheartening. I think AI can be used as a tool. So I'm not completely anti-AI, but
it has a time and a place.
Right. And so I'm just tired of seeing the sea monsters and all that. It's just stupid. It's stupid. And it's not going to age well, just like the dancing baby didn't age well, even though I loved it. Right. And if you're old enough to understand that, you are. If not, don't worry about it. Oh, yay. Miss Krabs says, hi, it looks like we're back. We are not. We are in Ocala.
Yeah.
We're heading towards Miami tomorrow. So we still have the cruise to go on.
Yeah.
Joe asks, is turmeric a spice that's only used for savory dishes, or can it be used in sweet foods? It could be used in sweet foods as a coloring agent to get that yellow color for sure. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I can't think of any sweet recipe that would normally have it, but you could make like a lemon cake, add some turmeric, and it would make it more yellow. So turmeric is often used for that. And let's see.
You've had desserts with turmeric in it, because that's one of those things like lavender that makes you go, ooh, I got to try that.
I've definitely had desserts with it. Well, and I made golden milk ice cream, and golden milk is like turmeric, ginger, a few other things. Actually, I was talking to Sandy about that because she's been putting some stuff like that in her coffee with cinnamon and baking soda, which I still have to do some research on. I thought that was interesting. But golden milk has a lot of turmeric, a lot of ginger, a little bit of black pepper to activate that turmeric. So it actually helps reduce your inflammation. Oh, yes, we can. Well, okay, first, Tia says I also don't do Instagram or Facebook either. I'm fine with regular YouTube. And YouTube has turned into our biggest platform of choice, just because I feel like it's easier.
It's easily accessible for everyone. It's easier. It's kind of easier to get around and search things.
Yeah. And speaking of that, Elizabeth says, can you guys do a YouTube video at some point explaining how to use Heartbeat? I'm in it and I don't really know how to use it, so I never go
yeah,
there.
definitely.
And we can totally do that. And like when you go in, because it's a little, it could probably be organized a little bit better, and we'll see what we can do about that.
Yeah.
But there's a little thing about how you can unsubscribe from email notifications, because that's our biggest thing. People are like, I don't want to know that you're going live, but everybody else does. And so you can take those notifications off. If you're having trouble doing that, go ahead and email support@healthyslowcooking.com and Cheryl will help you out, and It'll be really easy. Oh, and Ollie takes a teaspoon of turmeric in her water every morning. My best friend's grandma from India told me a lot of it, told me about it, yes. And
interesting.
Yeah.
Did you hear that, Mom? Mom.
It's from India.
The turmeric thing in drink, that's from India.
Oh, is that where it's from?
Yeah. And I think you should put a little pinch, like not even a pinch, like just the barest bit of black pepper you can get in there.
Well, yeah, my turmeric already has it in.
Okay. I'll double check. You just buy the powder. Okay. Oh, and you also use neem. Oh, Christine says, I have a recipe that uses hominy. Do you ever cook with it? I've never tasted it. Hominy is good. Is in pozole, which is a Mexican soup that's really good. And actually, I've been wanting to make pozole.
the texture of it is actually kind
Yeah,
of
it
a
looks
lot like
it
this.
looks a lot like this. This
It
could
looks
be
a lot like
hominy.
this.
Well, there's the what did I just forget? The place with the jackfruit.
Oh,
Luna.
Luna
has a non-vegan mac and cheese hominy. So actually, this really, because you had it before you went vegan, so you're recognizing that.
Yeah.
That's a really good thing. I actually have some in the pantry at home, so maybe we'll do a pozole recipe.
That could be fun.
It tastes. It's a denser corn. So if you've ever had a corn nut, it's kind of like that, and then you cook it in a soup. So it still keeps some of its density. It's not crunchy like that anymore, but it still is more dense than, let's say, if you just had a corn. Like, what do you call the kernel? It's denser than just like a fresh corn. Oh, you got it for Manhattan chowder? I don't know. I've never seen it used in that. That's to use maybe instead of clams to make a faux clam chowder.
That texture would make sense.
I can kind of see that.
I can see that, yeah.
I've done that before with soy curls. And if you go to healthyslowcooking.com too, I have a faux fried clam strips using them. They're really good. Anything else you want to, we probably should be winding this up so the parental units may go to sleep in peace without us being in the middle of their house.
Turn their TV on in peace. We sent my dad to his TV den and sent snacks in with him, and so we need to let him out so he can get.
He's not going to come out. He stays in there and watches his TV.
We took him. We took him snacks. We took him snacks earlier.
She's like, "Why aren't you giving me snacks?" Okay.
More people want to meet you, Mom.
Yeah, they do.
You may have to come make another appearance. Just say hey.
What?
People that came in late, they want to meet you.
Well, the pozole, Joe is saying pozole recipe vegan sounds yum. Kathy, would be cool if you made a video on that. We could use mushrooms in place of meat. We could use soy curls. Jackfruit would be one I would think about using too. So Charlene is saying, introduce your mom.
This is Sandy, my mom. Can't you tell?
She's like,
can't you tell?
You look so happy.
That we're so related.
So what would be one tip if people were having trouble asking for help or just dealing with people being kind of rough and rude lately? What would you tell me if I came in and said that?
You got to keep it clean. It's a family show.
Yeah, we do PG here.
Oh, okay.
That makes it harder.
You can come out from behind you.
When we were younger and we learned, our parents always told us, you treat people like you want people to treat you. If there's an old lady can't get in a door, open the door.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yep.
You got somebody who can't reach something, reach it for them. It's not going to hurt you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's going to make them feel so much better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's what we learned. But kids are not learning that anymore.
Yeah.
Yep. And like that's what I got taught too.
Yeah.
So.
You got your hiney taken care of.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, Sandy Purser. Tia says my mom would sometimes cook hominy and it's the same. And at the time, everything had bacon grease in it. I personally could not stand them, like giant dry corn. Yeah, it is. So if you're looking at it kind of as a meat substitute, that's an interesting texture. And it's often used in Southern food as well. My dad was a real fan of it, but we didn't really cook it at home. Aw, Phoenix Financial says, beautiful mom. And Vegana says, hi, Mama Purser. Oh, you're doing great for an old Polish lady, as she just said. I don't know if you heard that. She goes, Ollie says hi. Joe says, yeah, we're at Cheryl's parents. I can tell she's pampered by her folks, and says, hi, Sandy, you're a beautiful mama. She's really sweet. Apple says, I do like that Southern phrase, bless your heart. Yes. Yes, indeed. And in the South, it does not mean what the obvious is. Usually it means, bless your heart, honey. I'm not sure how you're going to make it through life. But, and Janet says, Sandy's so sweet, great advice. And red lentil, yellow lentil says, oh my God, my husband used to put stuff on my cutting board. If you won't lick it, don't put it on the cutting board. That is what I tell you to say to him, because it works.
It does work.
Also, if you have someone who chews their fingers and you're going to Disney, remind them that kids are picking their nose and touching things. And that's what they're eating.
I've actually seen, on a few times that we've been there, I've actually seen kids licking railings. Licking railings, and their parents standing right there letting them do it. And I'm like, oh no. Do not want to be around when that kid gets sick.
This is awesome. Begana says, love that. Sandy needs her own coaching show. Joe says, Sandy's right on. Jill says, mom is awesome. Elizabeth says, your mom is the sweetest, so wise. See, she didn't know we were going to be lifting her up. This is the Lift the Mamas Up show.
Yeah, they haven't seen my dander up either.
Begana says, now we know where Cheryl gets her sweet, super pleasant demeanor.
Haven't seen the Polish side.
They have
So
not.
her mom is over there going, they haven't seen the Polish side. They haven't seen the Polish side. You guys, you know that beautiful Polish pottery that I have sometimes out for classes. And in some of the photos Cheryl's mom gave to us, which is just really great. We're surrounded by it around over here. It's all so beautiful.
That and Longenberger baskets.
Yes, there are a lot of Longenberger baskets. There's no room in the car this time, Sandy.
Yep, sorry.
She went. So last time, I'm like, let us get the house cleaned out. Oh, and Tia says, laugh out loud. That's so gross and funny about the kids. Yeah. Yeah. So, because we were talking, because going on a cruise, we were talking also about like, what about norovirus? And one of the things too is there aren't children on Virgin Voyages.
Right.
It's a 18 and over cruise, though that sounds naughty, but it's not naughty. There's just no kids allowed there. It's not like adult things are happening.
No,
adult things like
just means that they don't want any small children on the boat because there's nothing for them to do there. So, and Mom was mentioning earlier that some of the cruises that they've been on, what was that, Holland America, and what else? Where you didn't have kids. Viking.
And Viking's really expensive, so you'd have rich kids there.
Yeah.
Viking isn't really an ocean thing. It's a river cruise.
Oh, she's a river cruise. Okay. So like she was saying that there weren't kids on those ships either. Because there was just nothing there for them to do.
Ooh. Oh my God. I'm gonna let you read that. I just can't.
Oh my God. So Elizabeth says, we were in line at the Navi River journey at Animal Kingdom, and a mom let her son pee right there in the line. My mom just gasped.
As did we.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
It's her hiney that should have been hit. They should take her behind a shed and hit her hiney.
Yeah. So Joe was saying Cheryl has Polish descent. She seems to me like a WASP, a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant.
No,
Nope.
She's a Polish princess. Don't let her hit.
I don't know if you can hear that. Her mom said she's a Polish princess. She was raised Catholic.
Yep.
So none of those things.
I am.
But you're pasty white.
She does have her southern hanging out sometimes.
I do. I got the best of both worlds.
Yes, you do.
My dad's from Alabama.
You're really messed up.
So I'm a southern southern Polak.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Tell them the story of Gam.
Of what?
Gam.
What about Gam?
When we first got married.
Oh, I don't know that story.
You don't know that.
Do you want to come tell that
You want to
story?
come tell?
I'll just let you guys tell it. When we first got married, Grandma told Gam, which is Ted's grandma, that he married a Polak. And Gam had no idea what Polak was. So she says to my mother-in-law, Willie, you really should have had Ted marry one of his own kind. I don't know what she thought I was. But the first time we went to visit her, I was 3 shades whiter than Megan. She was absolutely amazed. I don't know what she thought I was going to be. But it was not some white fool.
So my mom just told the story. I don't know if you guys could hear it. That basically my great grandmother in Alabama, she's very Indian, part Indian. Yeah. She's half Indian. And my dad's mom had a conversation when they first got married. She told my grandmother told my great grandmother that my dad married a Polak, and so
sorry for the language.
And so a Polish person, but she did say the word Polak, and so anyhow, she obviously didn't understand what my grandmother was saying or have any idea what that was, and so she told my grandmother that he should have married one of his own kind. And then when they showed up in Alabama, my mom was like, just shocked them all because we have no idea what they thought that they were going to see, but they were not expecting my very pasty white-skinned mother, I think.
Well, and that's because they're Indian.
And they're all Indian, and so they are all have darker skin and stuff.
And as an Indian, as a Native American.
Native American, sorry.
As a
Cherokee.
It's even a better way to put it. So as you see Mila, I'm like,
so I got high cheekbones from that.
We're just desperately going down the tubes now.
We are. We're getting tired. We're getting tired.
I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Okay, Phoenix Financials. This is my first joke books were Polish joke books, and I was in DC.
Yeah.
Oh, and Vigana says that sounds too good. Next time we need to put a mic on Sandy. Yes, we can do that. So when we get back from the cruise, we'll mic her in there, and then she doesn't have to be on camera, but she can tell her stories.
Oh well, that's my only story.
Oh, you have more stories than that at all. Shelley says, you have such a beautiful smile.
Oh, thank
Cheryl.
you. I appreciate that.
And Joe says, Southern Polak, laugh out loud. That's a new expression for me. Being Mexican, it wouldn't surprise me for Cheryl to calling me a beaner.
I
didn't know that's a word.
Is that a word?
Did I just say a bad word? And if I did, I'm sorry to whoever I've offended.
Yeah,
but
because we have no idea.
I'm like,
I thought a beaner was like from Boston.
Yeah.
Then you think that? I would have thought that.
I have no idea. Look at that. But I think being called a beaner, I'd be pretty proud because beans, whole food, plant-based, they're good for you. They're awesome.
I'm proud to be a Polak.
That's right.
I am.
No, and I'm from people speaking Polish to me in the streets, I would not be surprised if I am also of Polish or Eastern European descent. But I have no idea. I was adopted.
Oh no, Jeremy.
Oh, poor Jeremy. Okay, so it's not as bad as it sounds. Jeremy's our friend. He said, I'm here with you. My rowing gym is closing at the end of the week. Rowed 2 times today to make connections. I'm so sorry because he would go rowing almost every day. That's our friend who does dragon boats, and that's our half Polish friend who actually grew up near where Cheryl grew up. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm really sorry about that because there was another one that was open that closed as well. So what's kind of interesting about his rowing gym, because I thought when he would tell me he was just going and rowing on a machine. But it's actually a classroom full of those machines that you get taught through a class like you would a spin class.
That's kind of cool.
And that sounded kind of interesting. And
but
so,
we're too short to grab the thing.
well,
We tried it. We went to Peloton and tried to do a rowing thing, and neither one of us could reach the thing to pull it back because we were too short, and the seat wouldn't go any further forward than what it was. So then we were
It
just
was a
both like
mess.
stretching, and the lady just kind of like had to grab it and give it to us so that we could try it. And then we were like, well, this would never work.
But you should look up dragon boats, because I didn't know what those were before I met Jeremy, and they're really pretty cool. And Joe says there was a Mexican rock group that made a rap video on Beaners Mexicans back in the 90s. Oh, interesting.
I just never heard that
I think
term.
the band name is Cocktail Molotov. Oh, that's funny. That's awesome.
Yeah, I never heard that before.
Well, I feel like we need to kind of wrap things up. Do you have anything that you want to wrap things up with tonight?
So,
like, do you have any goals for this week? Like, anybody have
I have
some goals they want to talk about?
I have lots of goals for this week.
Okay. How about let's hear a couple of them?
So I felt really good getting in like 10,000 steps yesterday or more. And
yeah, we got 6 miles in.
We got 6 miles in yesterday, and I would really like to try to get at least 5 or 6 miles in every day while we are doing the cruise. Even if that means I take the stairs everywhere as well.
Well, there's also exercise equipment.
Yeah.
So there's a whole gym.
Hit the treadmill.
There's treadmills that are facing out into the water. There's also a track on the Virgin Voyage.
That's right. That's
so
right.
So you can keep going around.
And I bet you Faith would do that with me.
Oh, Faith, so I don't think I told you all the things. I found a claw machine because Faith loves the claw machine. So we're going with our friends Faith and Jessica. And if you get the claw stuff, you can get like Virgin Voyages t-shirts or tote bags and stuff. So she's going to be winning them for all of us, which is great. But there was also some kind of running club on board too. So I sent something about that. I don't know if I found it on Reddit in the Virgin Voyages thing.
That's cool. And you guys have met Faith and Jessica on several other videos before. If you don't remember, those are our nurse friends. Yeah. So they're getting a nice, much needed break from work.
Yes.
For a few days. And
so the hope is we're going to be able to go live a couple of times on the ship. So hopefully we'll be able to at least do one meal live or do parts of it. If that doesn't really work in different parts of the ship, we're going to at least like go live once we get off at our destinations. Mm-hmm. So we're going to see how that works out.
Like mostly I want to make sure that I get lots of like steps and stuff in. And then the other goal is for me to get lots and lots of content for you guys to see all the fun and great stuff that we come across while we're out there.
Right. And it's a little stressful because it's new and we're doing things in a different way. So it makes me nervous. I like things. It's funny because I never make the same meal twice, but I like things to be the same and other things. And so kind of getting used to that, but we've got lots of things to try and we'll learn a lot. Mm-hmm. And then even next time it'll be even better. And I think, I'm trying to think what one of my goals for this week, like I would also like to get a lot of movement in and just really be doing some stuff. I want to work-wise get at least the intro and structure for potions and powders together. I'm hoping to get that out in February, March at the latest. Awesome. I got all the photos to take, but if I can get everything and just throw the photos in, it'd be really, really good.
Yeah. TS says, thank you for this wonderful video. My goal this week is to try and not be so stressed regarding the fires in California that are very near me. And we really, our hearts go out to you and all the people in that area. Like I said, we have several friends that live in that area that have been very stressed over the past few weeks. So we know you're going through a lot and we're here for you.
And some stresses you can lessen and some you can. I know you were talking about your go bag and I'm glad that you have that. Mm-hmm. It's hard to live in those uncertain times. And just make sure you're taking very good care of yourself. Make sure you're drinking enough water. Make sure you're eating your meals and you have some food that actually you like too. The Black Bean Crochet Queen.
I love
awesome
that.
Name.
That is awesome.
That's amazing. Says I tried to catch you on Mondays. Doing pretty good here lately. Enjoy the two of you. You're both funny and knowledgeable. I wish I knew how to search your other sites as easy as this. So if you just go to healthyslowcooking.com or plantbasedinstantpot.com, that's where recipes are. We will be adding the plant-based explorers to our web portfolio at some point, but I just need to we need some videos so I can crank out some good content from the images we get.
Yeah.
But you can always, if you have a question, you can always email either support@healthyslowcooking.com or kathyhester@gmail.com. All right, you guys. I love, Ollie says I love the lentil and bean names. Yeah, me too.
Those are awesome.
Okay, anybody else want to put in any of their goals for the week? And if you don't have a goal for the week, how about just do one small part of a step for something a goal you want to go towards. So like if I wish I could meal prep, make twice as much rice tomorrow.
Yeah.
Make a whole pound of beans and then put some in the freezer.
Just remember, you can always take little bite-sized things towards every goal that you have. You don't have to be all or nothing. Just do what you can. Take little steps to get there.
Yeah.
Make a plan if you want, if that helps you. Write it down.
And go over into the Heartbeat group and you can find some other like-minded people and maybe even kind of have an accountability partner or something like that. Mm-hmm. That's something else we could do. Oh, thanks, Hydra, and good night to you. And we will have a wonderful, wonderful cruise, I'm sure.
Oh, God.
I got to put this one up. Deanna says, the Black Bean Crochet, at the Black Bean Crochet Queen. We got to hook up. See what I did there. As I sit here working on an amigurumi bunny gift. Ooh, I want to learn how to do that.
Is that stuff that Faith made
me?
The
little cute
crochet. Faith made me a
Mothman.
A Mothman.
Those are so cool. Yeah. I love those. Ross Sheffield says, my goal is to remember to take rest and not be too hard on myself. And that Absolutely. Is a goal. A lot of people, if you don't have a goal, that's a good one.
Yep.
Take good care of yourself. Oh, that's great. Jill D says, my goal since I'm at week 2 of the Chef AJ reboot is to eat veggies for breakfast.
Yay.
And that's so yummy and so easy to do. Mm-hmm. Since it's winter, warming them up is nice anyhow, and you may be cooking them from scratch. I still love having, in the summer, I like to have some steamed greens that I can eat cold straight out of the fridge. Mm-hmm. So yummy. Mm-hmm. All right, guys.
We're going to wrap it up so we can spend some time with the folks.
Yep. So have a good night. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. We really appreciate you. And, just take a deep breath. Everything's going to do what it's going to do anyhow. So we might as well enjoy the ride.
Yep.
All right. Have a great night, you guys.
All right. See you, everybody.